Can you trust any of those reviews that you read on Amazon? We've all done that. We're joined this evening by international thought leader Stephen Pope, and he's here to explain all of these reviews to us. Hey, Stephen, welcome to KMOX St. Louis.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And before we get into all of this, how is it that you're an expert on Amazon reviews? How is that?
Well, I've been selling on Amazon myself for the past 10 years, and I also own an agency called My Amazon Guy with over 200 brands we manage. And here's my street creds for you, if you will. If you Google Amazon Guy, I beat Jeff Bezos for that number one spot on SEO.
Yes.
So if I ever meet that guy, I'll be like, Jeff, how does it feel to be the second most important Amazon guy in the world?
Yeah, I'm the Amazon guy, Jeff, not you. It's me.
If I ever had a chance to shake his hand, I'd probably say, thanks for helping me create 200 jobs, to be honest. We got to give him some credit. They're half the economy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just wanted to, you said your street cred. I wanted to get that out of the way because I wanted folks to understand this is something that you know a lot about. So let's dive right into this because I've done this. Everybody you know has done this. When I'm looking for something and I read those reviews, I always wonder, Stephen, is this written by people who actually bought the product or is it just written by a bot somewhere in Bosnia? I don't know. Tell us about the truth of Amazon reviews.
So there's going to be some good news and some bad news. The good news is there's definitely thousands of real reviews on Amazon floating around. The bad news is it's hard to tell which are the real ones and which ones are the fake ones. There's kind of some really big news that hit in the last 24 hours. Amazon actually went to court and sued two review generators. One's called App Sally, and the other one's called Rebatus. And both of them have been incentivizing reviews through rebates and refunds, and so they're well under fire right now. And Amazon's really had a really good run up until today, right? Like they have dominated the space. The economy is going over to Amazon, and one of those real factoring points you can think about is if you buy something on Amazon, there's like a 15 to 20% conversion rate once you hit the product page. You compare that to selling or buying on a website. Websites are pulling in 1, maybe 3% conversion rate tops. So Amazon has built this really big trust with the community. Well, that trust is a little bit under fire right now because of how many fake reviews have been caught and incentivized reviews. And so consumers are just like wondering, can I trust this? So there's a couple of ways a consumer could protect themselves.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold you off there. I'm going to get into that in just a moment, Stephen. I want to discuss this idea first, and then we'll get into how can we spot it. But when it comes to like one of the things that I've seen, and I've bought my share of stuff on Amazon, and I see this phrase verified purchaser at the top of a review. Does that mean anything?
It does. It means that the person who purchased it has actually purchased it from Amazon.com. So in the past, when Amazon was first trying to grow the platform, they would aggregate reviews and allow people to say, go down to the strip mall and buy something, maybe a perfume at the strip mall, and it's, maybe they bought it for $500 at the strip mall. It's one of those expensive luxury ones. Well, not a lot of reviews make it over to Amazon for that sort of product. So Amazon would accept non-verified reviews from those parties. That's really kind of a thing of the past these days. Consumers really won't see a lot of non-verified reviews showing up on the platform, and simply put, that's just because Amazon's the number one place people buy products today.
And when you talked a moment ago, Stephen, about Amazon instituting litigation against some of these companies that generate either fake or fraudulent reviews, Amazon has a vested interest. I mean, they're not just doing this out of the kindness of Jeff Bezos's heart, insert joke here, okay? But Amazon would be doing this because those reviews reflect people's trust and enjoyment of the product. And if people can't trust those reviews, it's kind of like if baseball players take steroids. You can't trust the product, then you won't buy the product.
I mean, that conversion rate where, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6 people are making a purchase when they show up to a product page, if consumers lose their trust in the Amazon platform, it will destroy the entire relationship. So Amazon has to really show up in force on this one and really, bear some teeth. And quite frankly, I think they'll win the lawsuits. It's very clear in the terms and conditions of the website. And I think the FCC is going to back them up, too, because, quite frankly, if the FCC is in charge of making sure consumers are protected, what better way to protect consumers than to make sure that they understand what they're purchasing and it's not fake? And, there's a couple other contributing factors right now. You have the Chinese coming into the direct-to-consumer for the first time, coming in from the left, right? And that's going to lower down prices, and consumers generally win when prices go lower. However, the Chinese do fight a little bit dirtier, and they are definitely engaging in some of these black hat tactics. Another factor that's kind of interesting is on the right-hand side, you got Amazon aggregators coming in. There's about $13 billion that have entered the Amazon space, and these aggregators are buying up brands left and right. And then finally, Amazon is harder to sell on than it ever has been before. It's why I'm in business. And they're creating, they're entering the maturity phase, so they're creating a lot of barriers to entry. So the mom and pop seller in the U.S. has all of these competing factors, which is why they might be tempted to try and generate some of those reviews as well.
So as I see it, and we're talking to Stephen Pope, the Amazon guy. So if you want to check him out, make sure you Google the Amazon guy. But as I see it, there's basically two strategies when it comes to these fraudulent reviews. Number one is to boost the reviews of a product that you're selling, or number two, to try to destroy one of your competitors' products through negative reviews. Is that essentially it?
That's essentially it. And it's really scary with the negative review boosting as well, because, there's these, WhatsApp group chats going on over in China, and they're like, hey, I'll sell you 20 negative reviews for whatever. And if you think about it, if a listing has 100 reviews right now, and let's say their star average is at 4.5, if you get hit with 20 negatives, that'll take you down to less than 3.5 stars. Amazon will then revoke your ability to advertise. You can't run coupons. You're dead in the water. And so It's a really bad thing to happen to an Amazon seller. And there's not a lot of protections they have available other than just saying, hey, Amazon, help me out, or file a ticket. And the thing is, Amazon's a buyer's platform. They don't give a crap about the sellers. And so sellers really have to go out of their way to protect themselves, but they're also a little bit tempted at the same time to break a rule here and there because Amazon doesn't help them ever.
Sure. Well, is this a problem just for Amazon? We've been talking about primarily Amazon, but how much does this problem, Stephen Pope, how much does this problem impact other online sellers like Walmart or Target or other retailers?
I think every platform is going to be impacted, but Amazon's going to be impacted probably at an 8-to-1 ratio, and that's just simply because Amazon's the first place people go to do product research, and so there's just more value behind trying to game that system. And speaking of Walmart, I'm actually really surprised Walmart hasn't caught up to Amazon. They bought Jet, they couldn't integrate the tech, and it's like, man alive, they have all these facilities all over the world and all over the country. And I don't know, have you ever done Walmart grocery pickup before?
I have not. There's a Walmart just very close to my house, and I go there. It's
so terrible. And your listeners that have been there, they know what I'm talking about. You show up, and it's like 30 minutes to get your stuff into your car.
Now, well, that defeats the whole purpose of it.
It does. It defeats the whole purpose. So Walmart is a total disaster right now. I have no idea what they're thinking over there. But Target, that's a company to watch right now. My wife does Target pickup like every other day, I swear. And quite frankly, that process, you show up and they're there in less than 2 minutes flat, you're out. And so if there's a company that's going to catch up to Amazon in some sort of capacity in the next 5 years, my vote or dollar would go on Target right now.
That's great to hear. We're talking to the Amazon guy, Stephen Pope, and I want to tell you that I've become an expert at spotting phishing emails. I can tell when it's just not right. I can tell when they're looking for something, but I am clueless when it comes to how to spot a fake review. Can you give us some tips on if we're looking at reviews and trying to evaluate whether to buy this product or not? How can we spot fake reviews?
I think there's two really great ways to spot a fake review. The first is if you see a high percentage of 1-star reviews, but there's still a 4.5 or 5-star rating, they're basically gaming the system, right? So let's say there's 30% one-star reviews. That would be significantly higher than the typical like 4 to 6% average. So if you see a lot of high percentage one-star reviews, chances are the listing is not a good thing to purchase from. The second way is if you actually go in and read the reviews, which not a whole lot of us are going to do that these days, if we have to admit, right? Like you're making your buying decision in 20 seconds on Amazon because you know you can get the free return and all that fun jazz. But when it comes to reading the reviews, maybe you're making a little bit more expensive of a purchase. You're actually doing some research or whatnot. Maybe you're buying an air purifier, whatever it might be. If you read the reviews and they make 0 sense, you're buying a chef knife, but it's talking about a sponge. That is a great case example of when an Amazon seller has illegally combined two listings, an old discontinued product that may have thousands of reviews on it, and a new listing with no reviews or limited reviews. And so this is a very common black hack tactic that we're seeing from some of the smaller sellers or some of the Chinese sellers that are doing this, and they hijack a listing and combine them. And so, you know, as a consumer, you can spot that by just saying, yeah, that review makes 0 sense.
That is great advice. Stephen Pope, the Amazon guy, if people want to find out more about what you do and the companies that you operate, how can they find you online?
MyAmazonGuy.com. We also have 900 videos on YouTube about everything you could possibly imagine about Amazon. I like to joke I'm the walking encyclopedia of Amazon because we've done so much content. So thanks for having me on today.
That is great news, and I will be checking that out. Stephen Pope, the Amazon guy, thanks for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us this evening on KMOX St. Louis.
My pleasure.